Hello friends, Jewel Gracie DeMaio here. Wanted to walk you through the steps that are involved in actually getting a recommendation. So what you're going to do is go to your LinkedIn profile and you can scroll all the way to the bottom of the profile. At the bottom of the profile is going to be your section for recommendations, and what you're going to do is manage the recommendations. The slightly tricky thing here is that the Manage Recommendations button only appears when you start to hover over it. So go to where it actually says Recommendations and then hover over towards the right of that. And there's something that says Manage. That means manage the ones that you already have. And we want to choose Ask to be Recommended. All right, we're going to scroll down past this because this screen shows my pending recommendations. These are recommendations I've asked for. The people haven't gotten to them just yet. Scroll down and you're going to go to step number 1. What do you want to be recommended for? And choose the job for which you want to be recommended. Who do you want to ask? Now, you need to be connected to the person before you can ask them for a recommendation. So if it's somebody you've had a phone conversation with, and you happen to not be connected with them on LinkedIn, the very first thing you want to do is send them an invitation to connect. And maybe you want to, if you didn't already say, hey, I'm going to send you this connection invitation, maybe you want to drop them a quick email to let them know to look for it and to go ahead and accept it. Okay, so I'm going to choose somebody who's about to give me a recommendation, actually, because I've had a conversation with him. So I'm going to choose Anthea. Now, LinkedIn says you can add up to 3 people. They say it right here. That's not what I want you to do because you're going to be sending a customized message, and you can't send a custom message to 3 different people. What's your relationship? And LinkedIn gives you all of these choices. In my case, Anthea was a client of mine. What was his position at the time? This is what you're going to change. Step 4, where it says write your message, you're not going to send the plain old LinkedIn automated message that says, can you recommend me? That's a burden for people. It's not exciting. You're already asking them for something, which means it requires their time. There's just nothing good about it. So I like to say, Anthea, here's what we talked about. Because you've already had a conversation with this person, whether it's by phone or by email. They know this is coming, okay? So then you customize your message, and I have a message already written to Anthea. Now, what I'm doing here in this message is, even though Anthea is my client of Perfect 10 Resumes, even though he is my client, I'm going to write a message as if we were coworkers because that's the example that you all need, okay? So let's say you're writing this to a coworker, manager, somebody like that, then here is something like what you're going to say. Anthea, it was so good to speak with you earlier. Thank you for offering to recommend me. I know one of the things that came to mind was when you and I worked on the Sandstone project last year. You mentioned that you told the client you had never before seen someone in my role of marketing manager go as above and beyond as I did by coming up with those last-minute campaign changes that really made the campaign soar above every established metric. Perhaps you could mention that in your recommendation, or of course, whatever else you might like. Thanks again. And then you're going to go ahead and hit send. What's the significance of customizing the message? Couple of things. Number 1, you are essentially telling the person what you want them to say. Is this rude? Is this unprofessional? Is this unethical? Absolutely not. If you don't tell the person what you want, you will not get a good recommendation. All you'll get is a recommendation that says, hey, worked with Jewel last year. She's very great. She's professional. She knows her stuff. That's not the recommendation you want. You want specificity. And I talked to all of you about that when we did your LinkedIn profile, the amazing experience. Remember how I said what makes the experience amazing is the specificity of it. You want to say the things that are unique to you. Well, you want that to carry through in your recommendations. They need to be specific. So you may want to talk about a particular project, a particular client, whatever it is. And what you're doing by giving him this text in the message is you're essentially giving him something that he can cut and paste. And he can say a couple of other things if he wants to. Now, when I've used this strategy, which I have done repeatedly over the course of years of using LinkedIn, I have never once had a person just decide to say something additional. You're doing them a favor when you give them what you want them to say, and you're doing yourself a favor because you're really guaranteeing a LinkedIn recommendation that's very specific and very on point. So those are the steps for how to get a LinkedIn recommendation.